It's 4:30 and this is WKYT This Morning. A woman is behind bars after an 8-hour standoff with Richmond police. We'll be hearing from some people who had to be evacuated from their homes and they had to stay away for hours during that standoff.
Also ahead on WKYT, we're learning more about the second man killed after a drunk driver hit him here in Lexington. How Timothy Moore is being remembered.
And Harlan County leaders asking for help in tracking down those responsible for vandalizing a park. We'll have that story and your Kentucky forecast on Halloween. All coming up right here on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning and welcome in. We sure hope you had a nice weekend. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Andrea Walker. Happy Halloween, everybody. It is Monday, October 31st, and it certainly does not feel like Halloween weather. Look at me in short sleeves. It's going to be nice today.
It's really incredible. I mean, it was just a wonderful weekend, and really, this continues for a while anyway, into November tomorrow. Meteorologist Micah Harris is in our First Alert Weather Center. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, it looks really nice out there for today. We're actually dropping temperatures today. Past couple of days we've been in the 80s, not so much today, and the reason being is that front has already passed on through. We'll start to feel the effects of that as we go throughout the afternoon hours. And Defender Radar Network, there is your look on Defender Radar Network, holding on to mostly clear skies. We're going to be seeing temperatures there in the 50s outside early this morning, and then we get into your afternoon. Your afternoon right there around 71 degrees. We'll absolutely love that forecast. We'll get into that. Look at the trick-or-treating times coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thank you. In the news this morning, Richmond police say they have finally gotten a woman in custody who they say wouldn't come out of her house for hours. Police tell us they were called out to a house on Valley Street for a shots fired call.
And that call kept police busy for about 8 hours. WKYT's Caitlin Sintner was near the house when someone started firing shots.
We've been staring at the back of vehicles now for the last, since it started.
Early Sunday afternoon, Max and Carter got a knock on the door.
And they said, we need to evacuate you. So I was like, all right, well, let me grab a few things and I'll be out the door.
Across from his home on Valley Street.
This is the White House on the right-hand side there.
There was some commotion. Richmond Police Department was called out to shots fired.
And I think we heard another one about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, something like that. And we haven't heard anything since.
All was quiet for a while, and then the noise picked back up. We heard multiple shots over a number of hours, many wondering when the standoff would end.
It's been 6-8 hours.
Max and Carter was talking with us and just wondering when he would be able to go home when we heard loud noises and then screaming.
Hey, Tyler, turn around.
Police used tear gas and sent a robot into the home to monitor the woman they say was alone. Police say what we heard was the woman shooting at the robot.
Yeah, her son took off. They tackled him by that scruggly tree over there.
In all, the standoff lasted around 8 hours. Police were able to negotiate the woman out of the home, everyone unharmed.
We didn't want to put anybody's life in danger, so we did what we had to do, and like I said, everybody gets to go home, everybody's safe.
I was hoping it ended a lot sooner, but I'm glad nobody got hurt. That was the biggest thing. You don't want everybody to see anybody get killed or hurt, something like this.
In Richmond, Caitlin Sintner, WKYT.
Richmond police have not released that woman's name this morning.
State police are investigating a deadly shooting in Powell County. The Powell County coroner tells us a man was shot in his car yesterday afternoon along Mountain Springs Road. A few hours later, he was pronounced dead. And the coroner has identified that man as David Rogers. The coroner says the bullet went through Rogers' windshield. Rogers was the only one in the car. Now, we have called state police about their investigation to ask about a suspect. We have not heard back from them yet. And Lexington police are investigating after they say a man walked into a store with a gunshot wound. The store was along Georgetown Street. Police tell us the man was taken to UK Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. This was yesterday. They do not know who or where the man was shot. Police say the man is not cooperating with them.
We're learning more about the second man killed in a crash early Saturday. Police say 2 men were on South Upper when a drunk driver lost control of her car and ran into them. Timothy Moore and Jason Schweitzer were taken to the hospital where they both later died. Schweitzer was a detective in Louisville in Lexington for a Fraternal Order of Police conference. Moore worked for UK as a utility plant operator. Police say Moore was giving Schweitzer directions when Suzanne Whitlow crashed into them. Police have charged her with 2 counts of second-degree manslaughter and DUI. UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says Moore was known as a hard worker.
So he worked that third shift and had, I think, for most of his time at the institution for about 14 years. So it's a tremendous loss, I know, for his family and certainly for his UK family as well. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family at this time.
Blanton says UK will be providing grief counselors for those who knew Moore. Visitation for Detective Schweitzer will be tomorrow at the Ratterman Funeral Home in Louisville. His funeral will be on Wednesday.
A Russell County man is in jail this morning on murder charges. Rick McWhorter is charged with murder. State police say 70-year-old Douglas Carnes was found dead in his home along South Main Street in Jamestown Saturday morning. They say Carnes was involved in a fight. Troopers think he was beaten and cut to death. Also in Russell County, the coroner's office investigating what they think is an accidental drowning on Lake Cumberland. The coroner says 67-year-old James Stone Cipher of Indiana was pronounced dead in the launch ramp at Kendall Park yesterday. Toxicology results are not back yet. The coroner and the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife are investigating.
EKU police have arrested 4 people in connection to a burglary on campus over the weekend. Police say early yesterday morning, someone tried to break into the Grand Campus apartments on Barnes Mill Road with a gun. They say several people ran off and were later caught for questioning. Now 4 people face charges. Zachary Beaton and Darius Bryant are both charged with burglary. Shaheem Lee is charged with burglary and criminal mischief, and Deshaun Moncrief is charged with wanton endangerment, burglary, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and receiving stolen property. Police say none of the 4 suspects are students at EKU. And Lexington police are investigating an armed robbery at a store on North Limestone. Police tell us a man dressed in all black walked into Jackson Wine and Spirits with a handgun and demanded money. They say he then got away in a dark car. Police say a customer tried to follow the man in their car down North Limestone toward New Circle. Police say when they crossed New Circle, the man fired a shot at the customer. The customer stopped following the man then. Police say that customer was not hurt.
Harlan County leaders are asking for help in tracking down those responsible for vandalizing a park over the weekend. Investigators say someone stole the top off of an $800 table at the park at High Splint Lake. They say a porta potty was also pushed over a hill. And this is not the first time the park has been vandalized. Someone else fired bullets into the shelter.
This is taxpayers' dollars, and the Sheriff's Department is investigating it. And fiscal court, we're going to pursue it to the fullest extent of the law. People in the community, they're really upset about what they've done.
Town leaders are encouraging those responsible to either return the tabletop or turn themselves in.
The search continues this morning for 2 missing teenagers in Garrett County. Emergency management says 16-year-old Delilah Pretty and 14-year-old Taylor Pretty were last seen around 4:15 Friday afternoon. Investigators tell us they have talked to several people that the girls have interacted with, but they do not say where the girls could be. Right now, they have no searches planned. And state police are still looking for a missing Ohio man who disappeared in Laurel County on his way to Florida. Troopers say 74-year-old Robert Bowden was last seen turning on Highway 80, turning into the London Marathon gas station on Saturday morning. They tell us his wife was following him in another car but got held up in traffic. When she got to the gas station, Bowden was gone. Troopers say Bowden was driving a 1989 Chevy Silverado 3500 pickup truck with a camper top. He has not arrived to his destination in Florida just yet. Bowden is 6 feet tall and 140 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes.
Well, it's good to have you with us on WKYT this morning as we're just getting started on your Monday. It is 4:39 right now.
Still ahead, buying a house can be a real nightmare. We'll find out what a new home buyer can do if they think their house is haunted. That's right after Micah's forecast.
And we have the 50s outside early this morning. We get into your afternoon. We're talking lower 70s. This is a really, really nice feeling day and great for Halloween later on. I'll get into that forecast coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're at 54 degrees right now in Danville as we walk outside early this morning, sitting there in the mid to upper 50s, really anywhere you look. It's a pretty nice start. It's not all that bad. And as you head out the door later on this afternoon and off into the evening hours, walking back out to get ready to go trick-or-treating here or there, Man, it'll feel really, really nice. Let's walk you through your forecast hour by hour. We get in through the noontime hour. We're at 66 degrees. Off towards your afternoon, 71. Now, here's the deal. There's a front that's moving through as we speak. It'll actually switch over those winds, and that's ushering in some cooler air. But we're coming from 80 degrees. I mean, we reached 80 and 83 this weekend for official highs out at the Bluegrass Airport. I mean, it was pretty warm conditions. We won't have it that warm, but it's still really nice for this time of year. 71 for a high. There toward 8 p.m. when we're finishing off trick-or-treating, we'll be right there in the mid-60s. Heading off into the night and into tomorrow, it looks pretty nice. Now, let me tell you about this tomorrow. It's treats for all today. Everybody will absolutely love this weather. Perfect weather for trick-or-treating. But tomorrow, we may even be looking at record-breaking temperatures. I mean, we get into the afternoon, 83 is our record high. With these winds gusty in from the south, I mean, you really... When these weather models put out these numbers for high temperatures and you go and do a forecast, you got to keep in mind, we have to keep in mind that these winds gusting from the south and southwest typically will actually be higher than the numbers reading on some of these weather models. That's just the way they are. And so right now, most of the weather models are reading 79, 80 degrees. And I have 80 degrees in my forecast, but we could break that record. It could bump us up with just enough peaks of sunshine, bump us up to record-breaking temperatures. We actually hit a record this weekend on Saturday at 82 degrees. By late week, we hit Thursday off into Friday. Here comes a cold front sliding on in. But remember, we're going from the 70s and 80s. We're not going from the 60s, and it's going to be a big-time swing of temperatures. You'll get a swing, but it'll be back toward average. Here's some good news for us. Let's talk about your 7-day forecast. Break it down for you. 71 degrees there toward the afternoon. 84 tomorrow. Like I said, there will be some spots there in the low to mid 80s. And then we reach Wednesday there in the mid 70s. Next 3 days will feel really, really nice. Now your Thursday, here comes some showers, some thunderstorms rolling on through. That'll drop temperatures there on Friday. Friday night football will be pretty chilly. Saturday and Sunday look really, really good at this moment as we head towards your next weekend, sitting in the mid 60s. So all in all, guys, it's a really good looking forecast. There's only one day on there that's below average. That's on Friday at 60 degrees. But it's 60 degrees. That's not too bad. That's only a couple degrees below average. We're doing all right.
Amazingly, like last week with the rain possible on Thursday, you know. So,
yeah, right. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Mike. It's 4:45 our time right now. And buying a house can be a real nightmare. Home loans, inspections, and ghosts.
Well, I guess so. It's Halloween. Mary Maloney explains what recourse new home buyers have if they think their house is haunted on this Halloween.
When watching your favorite haunted house movie, do you ever find yourself shouting at the screen, "Just leave"?
They're here.
Unfortunately, in the real world, laws don't make it that easy.
A client contacted me after we closed, and we had found out that there had been a death in the property, but it had occurred over 10 years ago, so there were no recourse.
In real estate terms, a potentially haunted house is known as a stigmatized property. Disclosure laws vary state to state, but most require sellers to list any physical defects. When it comes to emotional defects, it's buyer beware.
I'm so glad you brought me on this tour, Vivian. It's given me hope. How? No matter how gruesome or horrible the murder, you can always find somebody out there who'll buy the house.
However, in one famous New York case, commonly known as the Ghostbusters ruling, a couple was able to get their money back. The court found that whether or not ghosts are real, the fact that the house had been widely reported as haunted affected its value. To know what you're walking into, visit diedinhouse.com. For a price, you could find out if any murders, suicides, or deaths happened on the property. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
Okay.
There you go.
An issue for some, right? Our time this morning is rolling toward 4:47. It's great to have you along with us here on your Monday morning. It is Halloween, and we do have a lot more news coming right up.
We do. Still ahead, Election Day is 1 week from tomorrow, and the FBI is moving forward in its investigation into Hillary Clinton's email use. We're on the campaign trail when we come back on WKYT this morning. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, and it's Halloween, and it's 4:59. And Election Day is 1 week from tomorrow, and the FBI is moving forward with its investigation of a laptop used by Hillary Clinton's top aide.
Investigators want to know if emails found on it will shed any new light on Clinton's use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. Brooke Silva-Braga has the latest on Campaign 2016.
The FBI is now reading through thousands of emails found on a laptop shared by Hillary Clinton aide Huma Abedin and her estranged husband Anthony Weiner. The FBI originally obtained the laptop during an investigation into Weiner allegedly sending explicit messages to a minor. CBS News has learned Abedin says she didn't know her emails were on the laptop. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News the effort to find out if any of the emails are pertinent to the probe into Clinton's private server will likely stretch past Election Day. Donald Trump argues this is the biggest political scandal since Watergate.
We never thought we were going to say thank you to Anthony Weiner.
The Clinton campaign is focusing on FBI Director James Comey's decision to publicize the developments just days before the election.
But the more information that has come out, the more overblown this all seems, and the more concern it has created about Director Comey's actions.
At a Florida rally, Clinton avoided directly discussing the case.
There's a lot of noise and distraction, but it really comes down to what kind of future we want and who, as our president, can help us get there.
Clinton's lead in the polls has been shrinking for more than a week. A new ABC Washington Post poll finds the candidates just 1 point apart nationally. Brooke Silva Braga for CBS News, New York.
All right, and a little while, a week until this election coming up, the candidates are making a stop in key states. Hillary Clinton will be in Cincinnati this afternoon. She'll be holding a rally just up the road, and Donald Trump will be in Michigan today.
The first opioid detox crisis center in Garrett County will be opening today. There was a ribbon cutting for the renovated church on Bryantsville Road in Lancaster yesterday afternoon. The center is a holistic detox facility with 6 beds. One of the founders, Nikki Strunk, lost her son to a heroin overdose in January. Strunk told WKYT's investigations team that there wasn't an immediate place for her son to go to when he needed help, so she decided to change that. She's hoping this center can serve as a model for other counties to follow.
Well, it's Halloween, very early on Halloween.
I know, barely, just barely.
But it is, and there'll be lots of folks getting ready to go out there to trick or treat today.
And police want to make sure you're safe. They're warning Kentuckians to take some extra precautions. They suggest that parents double check the candy kids collect and be aware of their kids' allergies. Now, many cities hold community trunk or treats, and police say those are the safest options for making the candy rounds. But if parents choose to trick or treat in a neighborhood, officials recommend that children wear light colors or reflectors on their costumes.
We have a lot of issues, people crossing the roads, stuff like that. We want to remind people that when crossing the road, be very careful because there are other vehicles out.
For a full list of Halloween festivities going on here in the region, head over to WKYT.com right now. We have a list posted there on our website.
All right, and at different times in different communities. The interesting thing is that with this daylight savings time, it's going to be daylight most of the trick-or-treating time.
I know. It's going to be nice. I mean, that's great for kids.
There you go.
Well, this time of year is all about the scares.
And the Lexington family is terrifying people for good reason. Nightmare on Greenway is open tonight for anyone up for a good scare. Stephen Colbert says it's taken months of preparation to get his house ready for Halloween. But Colbert didn't just turn his house into a haunted house for nothing. He created the house to help raise money for those struggling with PTSD. So a good cause as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And coming up, we'll have a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
And we'll have another look at your Kentucky forecast coming up.
Good morning. Our time is 4:57 on WKYT this morning, 3 before 5, and we're busy out there. Our news team out there right now looking up a lot of stories.
Always. Now it's time to take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
We're learning more about the second man killed after getting hit by a drunk driver in Lexington. The new details that we've learned about Timothy Moore coming up at the top of the hour here on WKYT this morning.
And there are no tricks, just treats in your Halloween forecast today.
Way to put it. Here's Micah.
Yeah, we're sitting there in the 50s, upper 50s. I mean, it's a pretty decent feel this time this year. I mean, typically we're there in the low to mid 40s at this time, so it's not all that bad. We get into your afternoon, low 70s, we'll take that. Then off toward trick-or-treating time. If you're about to take off, know this, kids won't have any problems getting out there later on this evening. We're going to go over that and look towards your forecast tomorrow coming up.